Hello and welcome to this very special series called Weekending. I am Ambika Anand and we kickstart this episode with a conversation with actress Farah Bhaskar, who tells us what's her definition of weekending. Farah Bhaskar, thank you so much for joining us on Weekending. What does weekending mean to you amidst this pandemic?
I mean, really nothing anymore because nothing means anything anymore. No day of the week matters, no sort of shift matters anymore, no time sort of matters even. My sleep cycle is a mess. Yeah, so I'm just like Godo. I like my dog. He and I we just do whatever we want the whole day. We lay about, no schedule, no weekdays, no weekends, nothing.
All right.
But it's a nice mythology, Ambika. It's a nice nostalgia to go back to. And once upon a time, there was something called a weekend that we looked forward to.
I absolutely agree. For those of us who are enjoying the weekend, I'm sure people will tune into Rasbhari, or they would have seen the promos on Amazon Prime Video.
Yeah.
A lot of criticism, some praise. What is the worst and the best thing that you've heard about the show?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say a lot of hype, a lot of, I think all the criticism, a lot of which was kind of quite clearly targeted, basically generated a lot of hype and actually a lot of praise by a lot of people who've actually watched the show. The numbers have been great. I think the nicest thing that I heard about the show was the fact that a lot of people said that we can't believe how you pulled off both things, that they were so different from each other. Because it's my first double role in that they're two distinct, different characters. And the best thing, of course, that I heard, which I don't agree with because I'm a Madhuri Ji fan as well, but was a bunch of users were like, oh my God, you look just like Madhuri Dixit. You look just like Madhuri Dixit. And I was like, oh my God, yay. But also, no, there can be no one else like her, but still, yay. And the worst thing that I heard was, the stupidest thing, it was not really worse. The stupidest thing I heard was from a lot of users who were like, oh, we haven't even watched it, but we've gone and rated it 1 on IMDb. Did my job. And I was just like, that's just dumb. And that the fact that you're confessing it and outing yourself on Twitter is also dumb, but it helps our case, so that's fine.
So talking about mindsets, there's also another mindset in our country which is obsessed with fair skin. And now that there is going to be a change in which fairness creams are marketed and sold and branded, what do you think will happen to the fairness cream market, which is valued at about 10,000 crore rupees?
Look, I think it's fine. It's great that they've changed their brand name. De Rai Durust Hai, as they say in Hindi. But I feel like, again, for me, it's really more about the mentality changing, right? Because the thing is that, and maybe this is a good step to actually change that mentality, but, if we're going to keep valuing fair skin and linking color with beauty, that problem is going to remain and we're going to see it in different forms. Maybe you will not have a product that uses the word fair. But if in the description of the ad, they're going to say exactly all that, then that's still a problem.
The new word they don't use is brightness.
Yeah, brightness, glow, all this rubbish. Like, it's just, I think the problem is two things. One is linking the color of your skin to beauty. And the second problem in a lot of these ads is linking the idea of professional competence and success to beauty. That for me is also a very serious problem. How can you have ads that show women becoming successful in life, in love, in whatever, only because they were beautiful? Fair or not fair, I'm saying. I'm just saying that idea is so problematic. I think we need to dismantle the idea of that beauty will help you achieve success, because there can be no greater objectification than that. You have a problem with Rasbhari objectifying. On a daily basis, our advertisements are objectifying.
I also want to touch upon mental health and mental strength. I've been in Bombay, I've hung around Bandra, and I've met so many people who want to become actors. So it's a really tough and competitive journey. And I think it's amazing to me as an individual to see Sushant, who was so super successful and obviously he was one of the top few actors in the country. So what do you think, do you give credit to your own personal mental strength? And what do you think needs to be done by people to be stronger?
I mean, I think the thing to recognize is to be able to first just recognize how hard it is, and to recognize that there is a certain level of not just competition, but the showbiz world is just, it is an unforgiving world, and it's unforgiving actually for everyone. So there are different kinds of stresses that different people who are involved are going to be dealing with. Whether you're an outsider, you have a whole other stress. When you're an insider or a star child, you have a different kind of stress. Whether you're a crew member, you have some other stress. Whether you're, so everyone, it's just a hard, unforgiving place, just per se.
So what advice would you have for all the young talent out there, you know, how to be mentally strong? Keep your connections alive with the world outside?
Absolutely. I would say that recognize that it's hard, it's unforgiving. You chose it because you love it, but it's not a punishment. So you don't have to torture yourself over it. All right. If it's feeling too hard, take a break. Let it be. Go away. Come back after a few years. Bollywood will be there forever. And always remember that the world is very big and very beautiful, and Bollywood is a very small hissa of that world. It's a very minuscule part of a very large and beautiful world with lots to do, especially at a time like now when there's so many opportunities. So don't torture yourself. If it's not fulfilling you for years and years on end, you don't have to keep struggling and, like, you know, just dying over there inside. Just get out, do what you like, find something else, and please find people and things outside the industry who will be your friends, who will be your confidants, and who will be things that interest you.
And what have you been busy doing during the lockdown? Have you learned a new skill? Are you cooking? Are you hanging with your parents? Any new thing you're doing?
My lockdown has been very diverse and varied. I spent the first 2 months of the lockdown in Bombay, where I was rescuing animals. I rescued like 2 or 3 animals. 2 or 3 I've adopted. The dog is a rescue. I had a little cat that was also a rescue. I rescued a kite, which I had to give away to a wildlife reserve, of course. Then I did bake a little bit, but then I came to Delhi. I drove from Bombay to Delhi because my mother had fractured her shoulder in May, in the middle of May. And once I came to Delhi, I was like, okay, vacation. Mummy ke ghar pe aa gaye. But I've been dubbing in Delhi. I've completed the dubbing for 2 shows in Delhi. I did a whole bunch of relief work with migrants when I was in Delhi. I worked with some other NGOs that were on the ground. And now for the last week, I've just been doing Rasbari online promotions, basically. I'm living on Zoom for the last week.
Well, Zoom just might hire you to promo them. Anyway, thank you so much for talking to us, and I hope you enjoy your weekend. From actor Swarna Bhaskar, we move on to designer Rahul Mishra. He has showcased his ready-to-wear line 11 times at Paris Fashion Week, and this is the second time that he's participated at the Paris Couture Week. Due to the pandemic, the Federation asked all the designers to send in a fashion film. Coming up is an excerpt of Rahul Mishra's fashion film for Paris Couture Week.
Just living is not enough, said the butterfly. One must have sunshine, freedom, and a little flower. You know, these lines by Hans Christian Andersen, they somehow get whole different meaning now. Why do we need to have yet another beautiful outfit when people are, collectively stressed about pandemic? Using couture as an idea to give work to craft people, to be able to utilize artisans' skills, to be able to employ them, became far more meaningful. For me, these amazing craftsmen are almost like, butterflies. Why I say this? Because you need conducive environment. You almost like need to grow a garden, maybe on a piece of fabric, so that they get enough work over there, they get enough vitality, they get enough nectar, metaphorically. And that was something which was really meaningful right now. The idea of this collection started as I finished my last couture show in Paris. And we were in midst of preparation, ideation, then suddenly lockdown happened. So somehow that time showed us a new blue color of sky, which I don't remember in my past memory if I've seen that blue sky in Delhi. There were a lot many butterflies, which one can observe in a garden. There were small little birds, they started nesting around us. Offsprings, they were learning to take flight. So all that somehow inspired me. In the collection, I've tried to create a kind of ecosystem which is a lot more livelier than ever before in any of my past collections. We all need to embrace nature. Every garment needs to have purpose for existence in this world. And for me, couture becomes far more meaningful, far more beautiful if it supports people, if it supports craftsmen, if it allows them to have a beautiful life. Because what we are staring at the world is never before seen number of unemployed people, unemployed youth. So I think this collection is most intimate and most meaningful in that direction.
You are watching Weekending on NDTV 24/7. Up next, we catch up with designers Shantanu and Nikhil, who have come out with a brand new campaign. Shantanu and Nikhil, thank you so much for joining us. Tell us, what does weekending mean for you in the current scenario?
Well, in the pandemic, every day is a weekend. But when you think about weekends, you always ended up doing things that you love the most outside of work. Unfortunately, we love work so much that we miss it. Now, finally, we are back. But the weekends have really been about, or weekending rather, has really been about focusing on what our real needs are in life, focusing on what really matters to us. And I think that time spent has been quite amazing.
All right.
Considering that June and July and almost your summer holiday year, months of the year. So we've been doing holiday at home. Yeah. So all this quarantine and isolation have been nothing short of holidaying with your loved ones.
All right. Now let's begin. You guys have a brand new campaign. Tell us all about it. And which is, for those of you who don't know, you can give all your old clothes from Shantanu and Nikhil back to them and they will make them brand new.
So really the idea of, re-own, reuse, re-love, the whole idea of just means going back to where we started from. I think in life, especially after this pandemic, it's given us a chance to reflect on what are the opportunities that we have as a brand and how do we extend ourselves out and ensure that our people we've been working for so many years are inclusive with us and not overproduce. What happens as brands is that many times we're competing at such a large scale that we end up producing too many collections, too many products, too many categories, and then put a lot of pressure on earth. This is one of the ways of really pulling back that program of overproducing by getting our customers to come back to us. If they've had a S&N piece with them, we'll value it, we'll upcycle it, and then we'll put it back. You get money for what you bought from us many years ago, could be up until last month or many, many years ago. And that money that you get is use then further for your purchase.
So you spoke about a new Pret line. Are you reducing the prices for it? Can all the lovers of Shantanu and Nikhil who couldn't afford your clothes earlier look forward to a newer, financially easier on the pocket line?
I think this brand of ours is pretty much democratizing couture because it still has all the ingredients of Shantanu and Nikhil. It's not a Shantanu Nikhil light. It is actually rich to luxury. You'll get the same aesthetics, the same sartorial language, so it's really not something very different that you'll see from us. It's got some familiarity, but it's got a touch of spunk to it, and it has a focused and accessible approach.
And I think the most important thing here is the price points are unreal. So your average ticket to get 3 pieces, you don't need to spend more than 25,000 to 30,000, and you can get 3 pieces home, which has never been the case from a couturier.
When he says 3 pieces, it could be an accessory, it could be a piece of clothing, it could be footwear.
Well, pieces is categories and products, right? So you buy a shirt, a trouser, a belt, you can get all of that. You can get a waistcoat, possibly a trouser and a belt. So you mix and match, but you get a combination of up to 3 pieces.
So when is it launching your Pret line and your website?
So everything is ready. We're in testing stage for our website. We should get done now in the next few days.
We should go live with our stores hopefully by the end of this month.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So exciting. Now, you guys are well cushioned. You've been around for a very long time. You have the investment from the Aditya Birla Group. What about the young designer? What advice do you have for them who haven't been around long enough, who don't have a strong client base, who haven't saved enough? Well, how can they survive?
I think get a job. Yeah. Get a job.
Okay.
Don't mess around with dad's money.
Okay. And what about the karigar? What about people who are not buying saris? The karigar who is the real sufferer in all of this. What advice do you have for people out?
I think it's unfair to say that he's the real sufferer. It's unfair because I think that this is one platform where everybody's suffering. We're all suffering. There's no question about it. We have the responsibility of employment. We are also suffering. The government is trying to support as much as they can. Having said that, it has to be a collective effort towards the future, really. I mean, this is not about individuals. It's not about an individual country or individual of a certain area. It's about community. And I think that once we start realizing that if it's the karigar, if it's the hand embroider, the sewer, we're all a part of the same family.
And it's good to see you all work once again and go back to work, as they say. What are you doing to keep your immunity high? Any Ayurvedic tips?
Yeah, every morning my bedside table is like it's an Ayurvedic center from Goa. Yeah. So I've got mixes made with wheatgrass, garlic, lemon, bunch of things, and then I have my kala jeera, pani, then I have garlic, then I have tulsi leaves with almonds and walnuts, and then haldi, kachi haldi. Yeah. Dude, I feel like a walking Ayurvedic shop. You need to tell us what are you having because you're looking so good.
And I'm eating clean essentially, but but thank you so much and great talking to you guys and good luck. With that, it's a wrap of this episode. Do send us your feedback and tell us what you would like to watch. We'll catch you again next weekend. Till then, have a great week.